This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Yo, Philly, go take a hike. No. Don't leave the podcast. Keep listening because we're playing with a new online tool created by the Philadelphia Inquirer that helps you figure out which hiking trail is right for you. The CityCast Philly team is joining me and Inquirer reporters Frank Coomer and Jason Nark to figure out how to find the perfect hike just for us in and around Philly. It's Monday, July 7th. I'm Trinae Nuri, and here's where Philly's hiking. Frank and Jason, we love your new interactive tool, Take a Hike, that you guys built. It's available on inquirer.com to help people in and around Philly figure out the best hikes for them. So we wanted to bring you on the show to talk about the tool and help our team sort through all of the hikes that are out there and find the best ones for us. Before we get into that, and before we go around the room with our CityCast Philly team, can you guys give me one piece of sort of hiking advice for these particular hikes that you're going to recommend?
My biggest piece of advice would be to not overestimate your athletic ability and skills and start small.
Thanks, Jason. What about for you, Frank?
My advice is if you're in the city, start with the city. There's so many great hiking areas. The new trail segment, the Schuylkill Banks Trail that just opened, is just an amazing new addition to the waterfront. Okay,
so how did you guys even come up with this? Explain what the tool is.
I would say this was an idea of a collaborative idea, but mostly came from an editor who likes to hike and had an idea that Jason and I knew enough about the hiking aspects of the area that we could put something together and come up with a quiz, rating it by, beginner, advanced, if you want longer hikes, shorter hikes, if you have a dog, if you're bringing a family, kids. So we decided we could do that, and that's how it came about.
And Jason, how many hikes did you guys go on for research? How many different trails are even in our area?
Frank might have went on some hikes for pictures. Most of the hikes that we mentioned were hikes that we'd already done, like personally. I have done some for work, but yeah, there's probably hundreds in our area. The issue is just how advanced they are and the level of difficulty you want to get involved with. The theory is that more of the difficult hikes are further away from the city, where the mountains are, or sand.
Sand?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. Well, let's start with Siani, our Hey Philly newsletter editor. Siani, tell Jason and Frank what you're looking for in a hike.
Yeah, so for me, I've mentioned on the pod before that I don't drive. So I'd prefer somewhere I can get to, ideally on public transit, or won't cost me an arm and a leg if I take a Lyft. I came back from one spot recently that cost me $50 and an 18-minute wait to get back home. So I'd like to avoid that, but I'm open to traveling a little bit further out if needed. As for difficulty, it's a mixed bag for me. I like moving at a calm pace since I'm typically rushing from place to place any other time. And I've gone on the Tacony Creek Parks Trail, the Boxers Trail, Pennypack, just to name a few. But I've done more difficult ones like Hawk Mountain. And speaking of which, I want something where I may see a more variety of birds than if I went to your typical Philly park because I love bird watching.
I just got back from the World Series of birding, so I did a lot of bird watching. I think one that would fit really well if you took the quiz, it would probably give you this advice, is the Wissahickon, Forbidden Drive area. I think you can get there probably by bus. I guess there's a regional rail that maybe goes somewhere close to there. But the Wissahickon kind of has all of it. You're in nature, there's birds. It's not too far from downtown Philadelphia. I mean, logistically, a little difficult to get there sometimes, but I think the Wissahickons a great spot.
I would also add John Hines. If you haven't been to Hines, there's that containment pond or whatever it is in the middle of it. You'll see a ton of birds there, and it's got to be accessible by public transportation. I've always driven there because I've always been kind of on assignment when I go. So there's a 3.3 or 3.5 mile wetland loop around the containment area, and it's beautiful. Like, it's amazing that you're in Philadelphia. It really is.
All right, Matt Katz, our executive producer here. What are you looking for in a hike?
I love the Wissahickon and John Hines recommendations. I also feel like I've done that too much, in that not for me too much, but for my kids too much. And then they're not going to just want to go and walk down the same paths, literally and figuratively. So if I want to go beyond Hines and Wissahickon area, I want to drive less than an hour, and I don't want my kids to complain because it's too long, the hike. I also have another requirement. I want water, like some sort of water situation. It could
water
be a
to drink?
Water to mostly look at. Maybe a hot day, I take my shoes off and we splash around a little bit. But I don't have any minimum requirements on the water, but between 2 and 5 miles, because I feel like after 5 miles, my kids are going to start yelling at me. What do you got?
I'd throw a couple out there. Nockamixon State Park in that's Bucks County, out near Quakertown. It's a bit of a drive. But it's probably about an hour. And the lake is huge. There are trails that circumnavigate the lake, and there's one we wrote about, the Old Mill Trail. That's like 5.5 miles. But the beautiful thing about a lot of these trails at these parks is that they're kind of customizable. You don't have to do the whole trail. You certainly have to do 5.5 miles of it or whatever, but you will get a view of the lake there. I would also say in New Jersey, the Franklin Parker Preserve, you'll get a beautiful view of the wetlands there. That's a former cranberry bog that's been kind of let to go back to nature. And there's an observation platform. And this is, if you like birds too, Siani, if you can drive there, you'll get some amazing views of birds. And it just looks out over this expanse of wetlands, and it's pretty remote and amazing. And then I would do another one is Glades Wildlife down in Cumberland County. That's probably a little
Cumberland County, Jersey.
Yeah, New Jersey. Yeah. And it's in Down Township, which is pretty rural, but you'll get a view of the wetlands there, the New Jersey wetlands, and you'll get a feel for really how expansive they are. And they're being lost at an amazing rate. So to be able to see it up close and get a view of it is pretty stunning.
Is that like by the Delaware Bay?
It's more on the Bayshore side.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Morris River Bluffs Preserve will take you to the Marsh River too. So some of the Jersey ones are very nice.
Cool.
Matt, I'm stowing away on your ride. I need to get to see these birds for my life list.
You got it. You got to sit in between the kids in the back seat, though, if that's okay.
I'd also say, Matt, you're familiar with Cooper River. It doesn't feel like a hike per se to me, but it's very scenic. There's water, lots of people watching. And Cooper River is much bigger than people think, the trail system. I mean, you could take Patco to Haddonfield, Westmont, or Collingswood and access it. And especially the Haddonfield end, there's like some woods and trails that all lead to Cooper River. I don't know if I would dip my toes in it or not. Your toes would be fine.
Yeah.
I'd be more comfortable swimming in the Pine Barrens than Cooper River, but it's water.
Cool.
If I can jump in, just add to Jason, I'm with him on that. The view at sunset, the Cooper River from Cuthbert Boulevard looking toward Philadelphia is just it's stunning. Like if you get a nice sunset,
because you get the skyline as well. It's the sunset.
Yeah,
the
Philly, you'll get the whole Philly skyline in the background, and it's really kind of stunning.
Oh,
this sounds like a good Instagram photo.
Yeah, that's all you're always ever thinking about, Janae. Is it going to work good on the gram?
Because if I don't take a picture, did it happen?
Right. Well, thanks, guys. I got three new spots. Appreciate it. I'll report back.
Up next, I learned how to customize our next outdoor adventure. We all know Philadelphia is a revolutionary city, full of American firsts. But did you know that Philly is home to America's first penitentiary? It started as a bold 19th century experiment to reimagine the criminal justice system in America, and it continues today with Eastern State. Eastern State is a nonprofit dedicated to deepening our collective understanding of the criminal justice system. On the grounds of Eastern State Penitentiary Historic Site, open to the public every day from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., tours, exhibits, and programs illuminate the powerful history and legacy of this iconic Philadelphia landmark. And the Eastern State Center for Justice Education, a nationally recognized voice in criminal justice education, serves as a catalyst for workforce development and a connection point that provides online and in-person opportunities for engagement, dialogue, and impact. Visit easternstate.org to learn more, plan your visit, and get involved. Discover, discuss, share at Eastern State. Every step, every stretch, every move, motion is what powers your life and drives your passions. At Rothman Orthopedics, they're committed to helping Philadelphia stay in motion. Rothman's mission has been and continues to be about providing their communities with high-quality, compassionate, and affordable orthopedic care grounded in evidence-based medicine. Rothman has experts in hand and wrist, hip, knee, shoulder and elbow, spine, sports medicine, joint replacement, and other specialties to address your individual concern, so you can find your rhythm again. Rothman offers care in Center City, South Philly, and Northeast Philly. To learn more or make an appointment, visit rothmanortho.com or call 800-321-9999 today. Jason, what's your favorite type of hike?
I do like a challenging hike. I don't really know why I do. I might be like torturing myself physically, but I definitely like to get some sweat going and sore muscles. And I've done a few multi-day hikes, and that's pretty cool too. That's a whole nother animal, but I also like to be around water.
And then Frank, what type of hikes do you like?
Well, I'll just pick up what Jason said. And I know it's one of Jason's favorite hikes in the area or one he wanted to make sure we included was the Water Gap. So if you're willing to drive, it's probably a 2-hour drive, right, Jason?
Yeah.
I've hiked Mount Tammany on the New Jersey side. I haven't hiked the Pennsylvania side, but the view of the river is spectacular.
Yeah.
And it's well worth the drive, I think, and camping overnight. That would be my... There's plenty of campgrounds there. But if you're just turning to a day trip, a 2-hour drive, you can do it, hike, drive home.
And you can go tubing too while you're
You
out
go
there.
tubing, yeah.
And there's a lot. The town of Delaware Water Gap has a ton of cool little places to eat, and I love it there.
Okay, so I've been to a lot of places that you all have mentioned. Siani, I've been to Forbidden Drive, so I would recommend that too. I've been to Hawk Mountain, but as a chaperone on a 5th grader field trip. And what I love, and kind of combining both of them after that experience, I like a scenic view. I don't mind driving more than an hour. Hawk Mountain's hour 40, so I'll take the almost 2-hour drive. But where can I also go to get the scenic views and spots that are not too crowded?
I would say, people forget about the private preserves that are in the area, and there's a lot of them. And they're run by nonprofits or conservation organizations. And Natural Lands, which is probably the largest, I think it's probably the largest land conservation trust in the area, certainly the Philadelphia region, has a number of preserves. And one of them is Cheslin, which is in Chester County. It's out by Coatesville. It's got 1,200 acres, 14 miles of trails, and it's got that whole Chester County vibe. The rolling fields, shady woodlands, wetlands, that kind of stuff along Brandywine Creek. And there's a 3.5 mile red trail there. There's a playground. To me, that's a nice spot to go to if you have a family and you just want to get out to the country. They have another preserve that's not even too far from there. So an interesting note of that, the Cheslin Preserve is an estate that was owned by Jerry Lenfest. And that's where the Len comes in, the Chester Lenfest.
Oh,
and
okay.
Lenfest was a former owner of the Inquirer and owned or started the Lenfest Institute, which is now the owner of the Inquirer.
Lenfest Institute for Journalism funds a lot of news and good news operations in the city, including Inquirer. Yeah. So full circle. Without Lenfest, we might not have this hiking tool. There we go. You said something earlier, Frank, you don't have to do the whole trail system. If you're picking one of these spots, you go into the parking lot or you're walking from the train station, like, how do you know what let's say the mile loop is or the 5 mile in and back is? I mean, do you have to use an app for that? Is it like, or I guess your tool has some of those. Like, what's the layman's way of approaching just like navigation once you're in one of these places?
That's a good point, because we went through this when we sat down. We had a group of Jason, like probably 8 people, 7 people trying to figure out how to handle this. And one of the things I kept going back and forth with in my head, should we point people to a location or a specific trail? And I think the trail won out because it was a little more filterable. But, every one of these trails is at a location, a park or a preserve that's owned by a nonprofit. They all have websites and they all have lists of all the trails. I went to Rancocas Creek in New Jersey recently, and Jason's been there. And, as soon as I got there, they had like a little thing holding maps. And that's what I just looked at and which trail I wanted to take. So that's how I go. But I know Jason could talk a little bit about the app he uses all the time.
Yeah, I use all trails. I probably depend on it too much, but I got the pro account. So you can download the map. So it's on your phone. And it works like GPS. You don't need internet access.
Does the app also kind of tell you if a hike is too easy or too hard?
Yeah. There's not a lot of hard rated hikes in the Philadelphia area. I mean, some of them are different. You can certainly make the Wissahickon harder than it has to be if you go up into the trails. And there's trails in the Pine Barrens that are really sandy, and that is sort of difficult all on its own. But yeah, I really rely on all trails. I think hardcore hikers would, there's a problem with that if I was out in the Sierra Nevada using it too much, but it will take you right to the start. It'll tell you if you're off trail. It's a great app.
So especially if you're going to a new place and you're out in the country and you're gone maybe all day to do one of these hikes, I feel like coupling it with a spot to eat maybe on the way out is advantageous. I mean, sometimes I'll hit D'Alessandro's before I go to Wissahickon because it's so close.
Right.
But if I'm in Chester County or whatnot, are there little gems near some of these hiking spots? Or do you grab a hoagie on the way out after the hike? Do you ever couple these hikes with some sort of food experience?
Yes. My most searched thing in the Apple Map tool is probably breweries nearby.
You want a beer afterwards, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot. Yeah. Especially in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, there's a lot of cool, weird little places to go eat and hang out. I mean, the town of Hamilton is I love the town of Hamilton. And that's sort of a destination for me to branch out into the Pine Barrens. So, and like I said, Water Gap is a really cool little town. There's places near Hawk Mountain, like Kutztown, I think is pretty close. You get some Amish food, some Amish desserts.
I'll jump in here too. And, I think we're remiss if we don't talk about the Pinelands overall. It's the biggest wilderness in the area by far. And there's plenty of water views. There's tons of hiking. It's a little bit different hiking if you're not used to it, but there's Nixon's General Store in Tabernacle, which is kind of right on the fringe of the Pinelands. I always bring a lunch, so I never, just because I like to get as remote as I can, and there's usually no eatery there. But Batstow is a great place to picnic if you haven't been there. Batstow Historic Village, there's a pretty lake there. There's a 4-mile loop around the lake, so that's a nice water feature. There's the Wharton Mansion right at Batstow, which was owned by Wharton. When you hear Wharton Business School, that's who built that back in the 1800s, and it was originally an iron making place, and it became a glass making place facility over the years. I would add that the Batstow, there's so many rivers: Batstow River, Molucca River, Oswego River, Molucca River. So I would highly encourage people to visit there.
Cool.
Yeah, Batstow's great. I love it.
Jason, Frank, Siani, and Matt, thank you all so much for joining me on this episode of CityCast Philly.
Thanks, guys. I hope you have a great outdoorsy summer hiking around the region.
Be safe out there. Watch out for ticks.
Do we have to worry about bears?
No.
According to my dad, you do, but I don't worry about it.
Yeah, they're more afraid of you. Trust me.
I disagree. I think I'm a little bit more afraid of them.
Guys, we're trying to get people to go on a hike, not to scare the hell out of them before they go on the hike.
Yeah, stay on the trail.
That's all for today here on CityCast Philly. If you enjoyed this episode, tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to sign up for our morning newsletter, Hey Philly, to learn more about what else Philly's talking about. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.